guys, welcome back to my channel. Yes, I am alive. Oh my goodness, it has been way too long since I have filmed a YouTube video. We've got a lot to talk about today, so I'm not gonna take up a bunch of time in this intro filling you guys in on where I've been and where my brain has been at. I will be posting getting ready with me video where I will be chatting about all of those things, but all you need to know for now is all is well. I am okay. I was just, I think, a little burned out and I needed to give myself some permission to introvert and to enjoy some hobbies and some downtime away from the camera. So I am feeling much more energized and excited and ready to talk about makeup with you guys, and that is what we're gonna be doing today. I am so behind on my beauty report series, given that I haven't been posting a whole lot this year. 2020, man. It has been a year for all of us, I think. So I've got like 2 months worth of products to talk about with you guys, and rather than making one epically long video and feeling rushed, what I think I'm gonna do is split this up into 2 parts. So in this video, we're gonna chat about all of the makeup products that I've tried in May and June, and then I will do a second video where I will share all the skincare and bath stuff and nail stuff that I've tried. So on that note, we've got plenty of products to talk about. Odds are I probably have forgotten something, so if there was something I mentioned on my channel that you want to hear a review on and I don't talk about it in this video or the next one, please leave a comment and let me know so that I can put it on the docket to share with you guys next time. And yeah, on that note, let's get into the makeup. So let's start out perhaps with some face products, because I've got a lot of those. These last 2 months, I went a little blush crazy. I picked up several new blushes and it did take me a while to fully test all of them out, but now I've got plenty of thoughts to share. So the first one, and probably my favorite of the bunch, is the Persona Cosmetics Super Blush. This comes in 2 shades, and I picked up the shade Georgia, which is a really pretty peachy pink. This is such a gorgeous spring summery color. I feel like it's very youthful, very fresh, and this formula, guys, is so lovely. It is just like everything I want in a blush. It's not super glowy, but it's not flat and matte. It has the perfect level of pigmentation where it shows up on your skin and you don't have to really pack it on, but it's not so pigmented that you feel like you have to be really careful with it. It blends out nicely. It doesn't enhance texture. It wears fairly nicely on the skin and doesn't fade really quickly. Like, it's an all-around solid formula that I've really been enjoying wearing lately. The price on this guy, I believe, also is pretty good. I think it's $22. It's either $22 or $24, which I think is very fair. This pan is not absolutely massive, but honestly, I feel like you don't really need it to be, because how often do any of us pan a blush unless we're specifically trying to work towards that? It's super sleek and slim. It doesn't take up like hardly any room in your makeup bag, in your makeup vanity, which is really nice. The one thing though that I will say is that there is no mirror in here. So if you are gonna take this with you on the go, you're not gonna be able to use this like, you know, as a mirror for touch-ups. I think that Sona made that choice specifically to allow this product to be recyclable because she cares about having sustainable packaging. So even though this is plastic, because there's no mirror inside, my understanding is that you can actually recycle this, and there is actually a little recycling symbol on the back. So I do think that is nice, and I'm sure that also helped to keep the price down. So if you don't care about the mirror and you just want a bomb, really nice high-end performing blush formula, this is 100% worth checking out. You can find Persona at Ulta. Then the next blush that I bought to try out was from Cosmetics. So this is the Heaven's Glow Radiant Veil Highlight, or Radiant Veil Blush. Not highlight, Radiant Veil Blush, I believe is what it's called. This is in the shade Magic Hour. Love the nudie pink packaging. Love the shade on this one. This definitely, again, it has a bit of a sheen to it. It has almost like a duochrome pink reflect. It's very ethereal, very pretty on the skin. I feel like this one is a little more sheer than the Persona. So if you have very fair skin, I think you will really like this because you can definitely layer it up. And if you are worried about your blush being too intense, this is kind of foolproof. But this guy is significantly more expensive. So I'm pretty sure this retails for $34, which is a lot for a face product. It is a lot bigger though. I mean, like just looking at the packaging difference, you are getting a lot more product here than you are here. Looking at the back of this packaging, this has 8 grams, whereas this has 5 grams of product. So, you know, more than half of this, but still you are definitely getting more bang for your buck here. And you are also getting a mirror with this compact. Cosmetics does have coupon codes and sales every once in a while. So I would say if you're interested in picking up anything from their website, make sure that you're signed up to get their emails, because they definitely do have several opportunities throughout the year for you to get some kind of a discount or free shipping on your order. So I would make sure you take advantage of that if you're going to purchase anything from their website, just because it is a little bit more expensive and you can only get their products from mcosmetics.com. I do have another couple Cosmetics products to talk about, but we'll come back to those. I want to finish up with the other couple of blushes that I have in front of me. So those two are actually both cream blushes. I got the Honest Beauty Cream Cheek Blush in Rose Pink, and then I got sent to me from Wander Beauty their Double Date Lip and Cheek in the shade Sweet Talker. So let's talk about the Honest blush first, just because I feel like this is the more hyped of the two. Tati raved about this cream blush on her channel. So this sold out so quickly the first time it became available at Ulta. Like within a day, it was gone. I had to wait for it to be restocked to get my hands on it. And I will say it is a very pretty cream blush. It has a really nice, rich, moisturizing texture to it. The color is very flattering. It definitely shows up, as you can see, but it blends out nicely and it doesn't blend away into nothing. There are definitely some cream products I've tried that when you blend them, they basically like disappear into nothingness, and then it's kind of like, what's the point? This I definitely don't feel like is that. However, this one does stay pretty dewy. So as someone with oily skin, the consistency on this isn't my absolute favorite. Like it feels really nice and juicy and it makes your cheeks look nice and fresh and plump, but it's going to stay shiny. And if your skin tends to already be shiny, it's just not going to be quite as long wearing on you. And the price on this product is not bad. I want to say that it's around $14. It's under $15 for sure. And again, it is available at Ulta. I think Honest Beauty is also carried maybe at Target. There might be some other retailers as well. But it overall to me is a nice cream blush at not a terrible price point. Do I think it is deserving of like holy grail status? For me personally, no. I didn't fall so in love with this product that I'm like, oh my god, it's the best thing ever. But I do think it's decent. Honestly, the blush sticks from ColourPop, I think I prefer a little more. This one was from the In a Twitter duo that they released earlier this year, I think. And this is a different color, but they have a huge shade range. ColourPop is, you know, known for their massive shade ranges. And ultimately, like, when these two are blended out on the cheeks, I feel like they look pretty similar. And I feel like the ColourPop formula is a little thinner and a little less emollient feeling than the Honest Beauty. So I actually kind of prefer the ColourPop on my oily skin. And this is like $8, I think. It's under 10 for sure. So it is a few dollars cheaper. So I would say if you're oily and you're looking for a cream blush, maybe check out the blush sticks from ColourPop. I think they're really nice. But if you're dry and you're in the market for a cream blush, I don't think you'll be disappointed with this one. I think it is very nice. I wouldn't say there's anything like mind-blowingly spectacular about it. And then for the Wander Beauty Double Date, this is kind of a cool product because it's like a lot of things with Wander Beauty, a 2-in-1. So you have a cream lip and cheek tint on top, and then you actually have a second pan that's stacked underneath with a clear balm, which is really nice to just have, you know, in your purse on the go. You could use this as a lip balm. You could use this to, you know, tame flyaways. You could use this on your cuticles. You could use it on your brows. You could use it as like a glossy highlight. on your face. You know, the possibilities are as endless as your imagination makes them be. And there is also a little mirror in here underneath the lip and cheek tint, so that is handy if this is thrown in your purse and you want to be able to see what you're doing when you're applying this. So this, to me, I feel like you get a decent amount of bang for your buck. The actual lip and cheek product itself is also, let me put this here, like the other ones, pretty emollient and creamy, blends in really nicely. This one's not too greasy. I would say this is almost like in between the Honest and the ColourPop as far as the texture goes. This one does dry down a bit more. It doesn't leave your skin feeling quite as tacky. I generally prefer to use these types of products on my cheeks over my lips, and that's just a personal preference thing texture-wise, but this definitely will show up on your lips. It does have a nice, pretty peachy pink tint to it. And I didn't have any major complaints with this one as far as wear time as well. It didn't disappear after 2 seconds. When it comes to cream blush on my skin, they're all pretty similar unless something is really not that great formula-wise. I have oily skin, so if I'm wearing a BB cream and something like this, after I would say like 4 or 5 hours, it's gonna fade and I'm gonna look a little shiny. So it usually will require at least a little bit of a touch-up. But I like that cream products usually are easier to touch up just because they are a little more movable and they can be refreshed pretty quickly. Now, this guy is more expensive than the Honest. I believe this retails for $22. It's either $22 or $24, but which is still actually a really decent price for Wander Beauty because they are definitely a little bit more high-end price point wise. A lot of their products are in the mid 20s to low 40s, especially when you're, talking their makeup line. So this I thought was actually really fairly priced for what you get. It's a cute little product. You're not getting like an exorbitant amount in here, but I feel like you don't want too much when it comes to creams anyway because they expire faster than powders. So I feel like this is a good amount to have on hand for the 12-month shelf life that it has. It is a little chunky because of it being double stacked, but it's pretty small as far as like diameter goes. So this again doesn't take up a crazy amount of space in a purse, in a makeup bag, etc. So I think it's cute. I like the formula. I think I actually prefer the formula of this one to the Honest, again, just because of my skin type, but honestly, that's gonna come down to personal preference. And then there's one other cheek product that I wanted to briefly mention. I feel like I've talked about this in a number of videos, so you guys probably know how I feel, but I think it's worth mentioning in this series. The Kosas Sun Show Moisturizing Baked Bronzer. I have been really enjoying this product a lot, but I feel like it does have a very specific use for me in my collection, and I don't think it necessarily will have a place in everyone's collection. So this being a baked bronzer has a very smooth texture, but it's not like crazy powdery. When you first get this product, the first couple times I used it, it did kick up a lot of powder, but I feel like that kind of subsided after I got through sort of like the top layer. It's very easy to pick up on a brush, don't get me wrong, but I would say it's more of a buildable formula that's not super intensely pigmented. Now, I have the shade Light, which I'll do a little swatch for you guys here. It's got quite a bit of sheen to it, and this one definitely has more of a warm undertone. So to me, I think of this as more of like a bronzer topper. This gives my skin that true, healthy, bronzed, like glowy, sun-kissed look. It doesn't add a lot of color and it doesn't add a lot of depth, especially given that I have this shade. I think if I had the medium, it would be a little bit different, but because I got the light and now I have a tan, it definitely is not going to impart a whole lot of bronzing in the sense of like deepening of my skin in certain areas. But what it does do is it allows my bronzer to like blend into my skin really seamlessly. It gives me like a hint of warmth. It gives me this really pretty like glassy sheen to my skin. I think it looks so beautiful. So as long as I pair this with a matte bronzer, I love the way it makes my skin look. So I'll usually go in with something like Hoola from Benefit or Bahama Mama from The Balm, and I'll use that to kind of shade, if you will, not even necessarily contour, but like I like to warm up around the perimeter of my face and on my cheekbones just to add dimension back into my face. So we'll use one of those products to actually like add the color and the shading that I want, and then I'll layer this on top with a fluffier brush and just kind of buff everything together, and I feel like it looks incredibly beautiful. Super summery, very glowing goddess-esque. Like I really have to say I've been so pleased with having this in my makeup collection. That being said, it's $34 for this compact, I believe, which is a lot of money to spend for a product that I'm not using all by itself. Like when I have to consider that I'm using this with another bronzer and together the pair may be close to $60, like that's a lot just for one step in my makeup routine. So while I absolutely love having this in my makeup collection and I have zero regrets, I wouldn't say to you guys like you need to go out and buy this to use it in the same way if that doesn't make sense for your budget, because it is a lot of money. So next let's talk powder foundation, because I've got a couple that I'm sure you guys have been waiting eagerly for me to update you on. So I picked up the Aquassurance Compact Foundation from JCat, which retails for around $14, and you can get this at Ulta. And then the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin Blurring Powder Foundation, which you can get at Sephora, and this guy retails for $34. It's upwards of 30 for sure. Now I have shared many times, I'm a big fan of powder foundation. Having oily skin, I really like them, especially in the summer because they're fast and they're easy. The two that have always been kind of like my go-to are the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Powder Foundation, which is a pressed compact, and the Wander Beauty Wanderlust, which is actually what I am wearing right now. But I had heard really, really good things about this Makeup Forever one and the JCat one, both I think actually from Kathleen Lights, who does have dry skin, which, you know, complexion products that work for her don't always work for me, but I was really curious and just, you know, wanted to see how these would fare on my oily skin. So let's start with the JCat. I will say, I think this is probably the nicest powder foundation that I have purchased from the drugstore. This is very soft and silky. The pigmentation on this is really nice. It covers very well. It looks really seamless on the skin. It's not dry and cakey. Needless to say, formula-wise, I think this is really nice. I don't love the little like sponge that they have that comes in here to use it to apply the product, because this is kind of rough. It doesn't really like blend the product on the skin nicely the way the puff in the Wander Beauty powder foundation does. So I typically use a buffing brush to apply this and buff it into the skin. I do feel like you can kind of end up wasting a little bit of product that way because a lot gets, you know, soaked up into the brush, but it is what it is. This fortunately, again, is not crazy expensive, which I do think is nice. So if you have been curious about trying a powder foundation and you don't want to shell out the money for a $30+ one, I do think this one is worth checking out. It's not the most oil controlling for sure. I do definitely notice that I get a little bit shiny when I use this, so I think this would be very dry skin friendly. I can see why Kathleen would like it so much, because it doesn't really like enhance texture, and for a powder foundation, even though it goes on matte, it doesn't make your skin look really dry. Like it kind of has a creaminess to it, which I like. But to that point, it's not as oil controlling. So you may need to touch up more or blot more if you're oily and you want to use this. And the Makeup Forever, this one is also really nice. Again, very creamy in texture, really, really good coverage on this one. The sponge that comes in this compact I do like better, which is to be expected, I think, because this is a much more expensive product. I would hope the applicator that came with it would be a little nicer. And this applicator does have two sides to it, so you have like a little fuzzy flocked side and then a smoother side. So I usually use the smoother side for actually applying the product, and you could use the flocked side more for touch-ups. Now I would say between this, the Bare Minerals, and the Wander Beauty, I think this formula is more similar to the Wander Beauty than the Bare Minerals. The Bare Minerals formula is a little more dry, it's a little more matte, but it's a little bit better therefore for oily skin. It's a little more oil controlling. The Wander Beauty definitely, I think, is a good like middle of the road. It's it would be good for people with dry and normal skin as well as oily. Like, as you guys can see right now, I've had this on for a while and my skin definitely has a glow to it from my natural oils kind of starting to seep through, but I'm not like crazy greasy at this point. So that's kind of what the Wander Beauty does. And I feel like this is very similar. It goes on very matte and very smooth, makes your skin look really airbrushed and poreless, but as it has a chance to kind of sit on your skin and your natural oils mix through it, it kind of becomes a little more satiny, a little more luminous, and then eventually you do need to touch it up if you're oily. So I like this. I think the biggest benefit this has going for it is that it comes in a ton of shades, which the Wander Beauty does not. So I think if you couldn't find your shade in the Wander, the Makeup Forever is a great option to look at as an alternative because it has so many shade options. You also get a huge mirror in here, which is really nice. The compact also just feels substantial. It's not as pretty, but I feel like it's really durable because this is like a metal case. So like, I feel like if you were to throw this in a bag, like I wouldn't worry about it getting damaged easily, which I like. You know, it's easy to crack powders and make a giant mess. And actually, I think this is cheaper than the Wander Beauty when push comes to shove, because I think that one is over $40. So I do really like this a lot. I think I'm going to need to continue to use it more to really decide if I like it better than the Wander Beauty. I will be using this in the getting ready video with me, so you guys will be able to see it on camera because I don't think I have previously done a video using this yet, and I wanted to show you the application. But long story short, I do think this is a very solid product. It is a really nice powder foundation. I do think it can make your skin look really flawless and amazing, and I do think it has the versatility to work for a lot of skin types, but especially normal and dry ones. All right, so let's move on to some eyeshadow palettes. Now I know, I'm sure many of you guys are waiting for an update on my Pat McGrath Divine Rose palette. I will be using that in the getting ready with me video that you guys are going to be seeing shortly, so hang tight, you will get to see that one in action. But I do have other palettes that I have tried and been playing with that I really love and I want to talk about. So first is the Woma Beauty Black Magic palette. I talked about this in my Black owned makeup brands wish list video and shared that I had just picked this up. I actually was wearing a look using this palette in that video. So I will link it up here in the cards for you guys if you missed that and you want to see what this looks like on the eyes. This is a beautiful palette and it has such a unique, gorgeous color story. I was really, really drawn towards all of these beautiful green shades just because I feel like green is a color that's not done as often, and I feel like green in this palette is done really well. So at this point, I've used all of these shades on my eyes and I definitely have some thoughts. So in here, you're getting 5 mattes and 5 shimmery shades. 4 of the shimmerers are almost kind of like micro glitters. They're not a like pressed glitter per se. They are still eyeshadows, but they have tons and tons of really fine micro sparkle. So they are definitely prone to fallout on the eyes. I do believe the best way to use these is over some kind of like glitter glue, like the NYX glitter primer or the Too Faced glitter glue. That will just help to minimize fallout, and it will also intensify the shadows and make them look like extra shiny. But I mean, look at that. They are just so sparkly and light catching because they have all these tiny little micro particles and they're not like a metallic foiled shadow. They catch the light really beautifully and they have that really, really gorgeous sparkle to them. So I really do like these 4 shades all over the lid. This one here, Lady of Gold, is a different texture. It's more of a true traditional metallic. So this one doesn't have any like little hunks of sparkle in it, but it does have a lot of shine and reflectivity. So that I think is a really beautiful inner corner highlight or brow bone highlight. Heck, you could honestly even use it as a face highlight if you wanted to. And then there are the matte shades. And of the mattes, I think the only one that I found difficult to work with is Lush, which is the green, which is a little disappointing because I think this is one of the cool shades in this palette that's a little more unique. But it's also unsurprising because I feel like a matte dark forest green like this is a little harder to formulate without it being patchy. And it's not like it's impossible to work with on the eyes. I feel like you can even see the back of my hand is not perfectly smooth because I'm all bony. So you can see how it kind of like grabs and skips a little bit, and I feel like that's sort of the case with using that particular shade on the eyes. I found it to be a little bit more finicky. I had to take a little bit more time blending it out. So just as a word of caution, if you want to do a look with this green, go slow, take your time, apply a little bit at a time and blend it out, because I think if you try to apply too much at once, it may just be a little more difficult to work with. But the pinks were perfect. They were super easy. This yellow is really beautiful. This yellow, I would say, it goes on not sheer, but it is more of a wash of color. Do you see what I mean? It doesn't have like a super intense opaque white base to it. So this adds more of a yellow tone, which can be really nice to blend with other colors or to blend out the green. So this I found myself using more as like a crease shade for transitioning as opposed to a shade I would use all by itself. And then Opulence here, the dark matte kind of purple. This one is a nice deepening shade. It is also, I would say, a little on the patchy side, maybe not as bad as the green, you know, but I found it to be a little easier than the green one was personally, although I'm also not usually putting a shade like that all over. I'm usually kind of focusing it more just on like the very outer corner of the eye. So I didn't have too much of a problem using that one. So overall, I have had a lot of fun with this palette. I've created some really beautiful looks. If you love glittery, sparkly goodness, I think you would have a lot of fun with this palette. It retails, I think, around $44 if I'm remembering correctly, which is not insane. And I also love supporting indie brands, which WOMA is, and it's Black owned, obviously, which is awesome. So if you're looking for a Black owned makeup brand to support, if these colors call to you, I do think this one is worth checking out. The other eyeshadow palette that I have been testing recently is the Divine Skies eyeshadow palette from Cosmetics. This is so cute and little, and I love this like geometric design on the packaging. The whole fact that it's a hexagon, like this is such a unique little palette. It's definitely been a very welcome addition to my makeup collection. And this little guy retails, I think, for $38. So it's kind of up there for a 6-pan eyeshadow palette. I know there are quite a few small palettes like this that have 9 pans, and a lot of those retail for under $30. So you are paying a little bit more for this. But I feel like the formula in here is really excellent. The packaging is very luxe, and it is an indie brand, female founded. If you don't know, Cosmetics is Michelle Phan's brand. So I don't mind sometimes paying a little bit more to support, you know, in a smaller indie brand like that. Now, this palette definitely has monochromatic-ish feels. It's a rosy neutral palette, but honestly, every single shadow in this palette performs beautifully, and I find myself using every single shade. So at least I know for the money that I spent on this, I'm not getting any wasted product. Like, there are definitely eyeshadow palettes, I think we all have them in our collection, that have several shades that go completely neglected. Whereas in this, I know I'm going to use everything, and that does definitely justify the price to me a little bit more. So you've got 3 metallics and 3 mattes in here, and the metallics have beautiful shine to them on the eyes. They've got really rich pigment. They're very smooth. They don't enhance texture on your eyes and make your eyelids look all wrinkly. They're just so stunning. And you know, clearly not super different. You have a pinky gold, a champagne, and then a rose gold. So they're all very harmonious tones. You could fade them or ombre them into one another on your lid if you wanted. And then the mattes in here, I think I was especially impressed with, because they are so soft. They're like ultra soft, ultra smooth. They have really good pigment to them. They blend out really easily on the eyes, they build up really easily on the eyes, and they are just these really, really pretty rosy neutral tones. So yeah, I am very pleased with my decision to pick this up. I think this is a great little palette. It's something that I like reaching for on the everyday when I'm getting ready for work. Is it an absolute necessity in every single person's collection? No, it is expensive, but I think if you feel that you will get the use out of these shades, you won't be disappointed in the palette itself. So while we're on the topic of Cosmetics, let's stay there. So when I purchased the eyeshadow palette and the blush, I also got a free sample in my order of the True Gloss in Magic Hour. And I have talked about this product before, but this was the first time I got a different shade, and I just kind of wanted to touch on this quickly. So I love this color. I think it's a really beautiful shade, but I did notice that it was a bit streakier than Faded Clementine, which I have here in full size. So a couple things to note. First of all, the applicator on the full size I like better than what came in the mini. This has one of those like diamond tipped applicators that has a well, so I feel like it picks up a decent amount of product. And for me, I never had an issue with this going on and being nice and even, but this has more of like one of those doe foots that has kind of like the dip in it. And I don't know, I just felt like this, the way that it applied, it went on a little more streaky and uneven on me. Maybe I can put on a little bit for you guys now so you can see. It's just a little bit more of a sheer color. Like the texture is still really nice, but I think that if this was the first shade of this that I ever tried, I don't think I would have recommended the product as heavily as I did having tried this shade first. So that's just something interesting to think about, because this is the only shade of the True Gloss that I had previously tried. Then I got a couple of products from Mented Cosmetics. This was the first time that I ever tried Mented before. They are a Black-owned makeup brand, and dang guys, these are nice. So I got the peach liner to go with my Peach Please semi-matte lipstick, and these do coordinate really nicely, but I also like wearing the lip liner by itself or topped with a lip gloss. So this here is just full on pigment and so creamy. It glides on your lips with no tugging. It's so smooth, but it dries down and it doesn't budge, which is 100% exactly what I want in a lip liner. So this formula, very, very impressed with it. The packaging, you know, it's plastic and it's not like, you know, a heavy plastic. It's a little more lightweight, so it doesn't feel expensive when you're holding it in your hand, but the formula of the product itself feels expensive. Like it feels like a really nice quality lip liner. And then the Bullet lipstick also really impressed me. So this has soft touch packaging. It's really like satisfying in the hand. It is a little, again, lightweight feeling, so it doesn't feel like a super high-end luxury product, but this also retails for, I think, $16, so it's not insanely expensive. So I guess I feel like the component is appropriate for the price point. So this is a really pretty mid-toned peachy nude, and this formula, guys, I am so into it. It's incredibly lightweight on the lips. It feels like nothing. It's so smooth and just like satisfying feeling. It goes on full pigment, and I feel like semi-matte is the perfect description of the way that it looks on the lips. It's not a chalky flat matte, but it's not a shiny creamy lipstick either. It kind of dries down, so it doesn't transfer a lot, but it stays super comfortable. It's almost like it has that kind of texture that flexes with your lips. It doesn't get wrinkly and crinkly. It doesn't break apart. It's just very, very nice. I am super pleased with this, and there are a bunch of other really beautiful nude shades in this range, most of which are geared towards people with skin tones that are deeper than mine, which I think is awesome because often there are not enough options for people with deeper skin tones out there. Finally, there is this beautiful lip product from Nabla that I have been absolutely in love with since the moment I first tried this on in one of the testing new makeup videos that I did that I used this. Guys, this lip formula is incredible and it's so unique. I feel like Nabla really knocked it out of the park with this, and I don't know if this is a limited edition product. I know this is part of the Dreamy 2 collection that launched earlier this year, so I don't know if this is going to be around forever. If it's not, they should make this a permanent product and release more shades, because I think they really are onto something special with this lip product. So this is the Dreamy Creamy Liquid Lipstick. I have the shade Eve. Yes, Eve, which is a beautiful, beautiful, again, mid-toned, rosy nude color. And what is so special about this is that it's not a liquid lipstick, but it's not a lip gloss either. It goes on, obviously, full pigment, really intense. You just need like one coat and you're good to go. No streakiness whatsoever. But it doesn't feel heavy on the lips. It has a very, again, super lightweight texture. It's really comfortable. It's not drying. So it doesn't feel like a liquid lipstick, but it's not like thick and gloopy feeling like a gloss either. Now, it doesn't really dry down, so this is not gonna be your transfer proof kind of formula. If you're gonna eat or drink, you probably wanna take this off so you don't get lip product all over your food. But if you're not eating or drinking, it will last. It really, really hangs around. It has a beautiful sheen to it. It's just special. It is so nice. And the packaging, oh, the little moon and star details on here, it's so beautiful. And this guy retails, I want to say, for $16, I think. It's definitely under 20, which, you know, it's not a drugstore price product, but it's not crazy expensive either. So 100% worth the splurge, in my opinion, if you like one of the shades they have available. All right, you guys, so that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this very belated beauty report. If you did, I hope you will give this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate your support so much. And stay tuned for part 2, which will be talking about skincare and bath and body and nail stuff, including this gorgeous hollow nail polish that I'm wearing on my nails right now. If you want to make sure you don't miss my uploads, make sure you click that subscribe button before you go. That way yours truly will show up in your subscription feed. And yeah, on that note, I'm gonna go take a little break because I've been talking for a really long time. I gotta go eat lunch. I am starving. But I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in part 2 very soon. Bye, guys.